So when I started the business, I had no idea. I'd run businesses before, but I had no idea about this type of business at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought I did, and I thought I could like put some packages together and stuff. And I was actually in the B&I at the time. And I was in there to do fitness, and then I changed from fitness to do video stuff.
Right.
And when we first started, also it was a video editing company, so we didn't do anything but video editing, not even in-person videos, like filming. We just done editing. And Katie, who was in there at the time, said to me, "You need to be a limited company."
Okay.
So I did.
Yep.
I didn't really know what the implications of it were. Didn't really know. Like, I just took the advice and went with it.
Yeah.
Because all the other times, like when I had a business before in other industries, I was always a sole trader.
Yeah.
So did I make the right decision at that point? I don't know.
Oh, that's a loaded question, that, Steve. I mean, it can depend on obviously each business.
I think again, just to put this into a bit of context, I did actually do a little bit of research on it.
Yeah.
With that said, I think the impression that I had at the time was, if I'm a limited company, I can't go bankrupt myself.
Yeah.
Like personally.
Yeah.
It's the business.
Yeah. Exactly.
So can you explain that a little bit to me? Or because, because even like now I'm 7 years in, I still don't understand the lingo and the rigmarole of it.
Yeah, no, it can be a bit of a minefield knowing how to set up as a business when you first start. A sole trader is quite easy. You kind of just do it and you don't really think about it. Yeah, you've got to register with HMRC, but you just start. Being a limited company for some people, yeah, it's about protection. For some people, it can be a stature thing, when they want to look, like a bigger company than they are. But it really depends on the type of business you are and kind of what you're looking for. But yeah, limited company definitely gives you a protection element. It's sort of it's a hard thing to explain, but you kind of say it's, you and the business are two separate things. With a sole trader, you are the business and there's no separation. So from a limited company point of view, you do get that element of protection. If the business doesn't do well, you run into money troubles. Ultimately, you close the company down and you're protected as a person. As a director of that company, you're protected. The difference with a sole trader is you are one and the same. So if something happens, your possible personal, assets are on the line, which is a real problem for some people. So it's really good to make sure you look into or options or take advice. You just said there, obviously you took advice from someone and that's the best thing you can do. Never make these decisions on your own. Go and sit with an accountant and go and ask them, what is their, what is their advice?
Love it. I love it. Little tangents on this. It always blows my mind, always, how many amazing businesses are literally on our doorstep that we don't really know of or utilise. Yeah. Now, I must have drove past Pennington Williams thousands of times. Yeah. I've lived in Bromberg all my life. Mm-hmm. Thousands, like, no joke, nearly every day I drive past there. And we only came into each other's sort of ecosystem maybe 2 months ago. Yep. So give me a bit of background on sort of who you are, what, like, and the history of Pennington Williams, because it literally has been like on our doorstep, like my whole life basically. Yeah. And you mentioned before the podcast about it. They went into that building in 84. I was born in 86. so it's been there longer than I've actually been alive. And I'm 40 this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long established business. And, as you say, that the building of Stanhope House, it is very synonymous within Bromberg. But a lot of people don't know it's Pennington Williams. I mean, the signs. But I think a lot of people drive on the A41 and kind of see it, but don't stop. So, yeah, I mean, we've been there since 1984. The business has been going for about 50 years. We moved in 1984 and it was a house. prior to us being there. There's all sorts of stories of, there's a cellar that no one dares go in. There's if you're ever there at night, you're always in twos, never at what, it's that type of place that you wouldn't want to be there on your own, late at night.
You're selling this really well.
But it's an amazingly historic building. There's a lot of history. It was 1600s. And there's still some really, really amazing features around the building that people can see when they come in.
Between Masalan, I always think where we are here, so for anyone who might be watching this, we're based on the Croft, and Pennington Williams is literally just over the road, the other side of the A41. And I always think, when I was thinking about the concert room and where we were going to go with the concert room, at one point we were thinking about going to Liverpool and being in amongst the city, and we were actually going to go to Box Studios, which is a great place. And then I stayed here because we were originally in Brombury. I live in Brombury. And then it's kind of 10 minutes out the tunnel. It's 10 minutes the other way to Ellesmere Port and Chester Bay. So we're on the Wirral, especially where we are. I always think it's like literally sends it to everything. And the amount of passing traffic, the amount of times I must have went to Matalan, literally directly opposite you.
Yeah.
And the amount of times I've been into the Bromber pub to drink, especially in my 20s. I don't really drink that much anymore. I don't go to pubs anymore. But the amount of times I've been there and I've seen that place, you must get such like... So it's kind of hard to quantify how much attention that's brought to the business over time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think over the years we've had historical societies coming in. Can we take pictures? And I think a couple of years ago, it was definitely after I was there. It must be about 10 years ago. We had a dig. We've got a little bit of a car park and a grass area, and they came in to dig to see if they could find any artefacts. Unfortunately, they didn't, but it was a really interesting situation to be in.
I love it. And it we've talked about this. The Wirral literally is an untapped resource
Absolutely.
in terms of business. We met in networks, and now we're doing content and stuff.
Yeah.
But how did you get into the business originally? Were you am I right in thinking you were an employee of the business that kind of graduated up through the ranks and stuff?
Yeah. So I joined in 2010, so 16 years ago.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
44.
Yeah, similar generation to me.
Yeah. So I kind of I've worked in accountancy since I was 18.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
Really enjoy it. Sadly for some people, but I do. I really enjoy.
Even on the bad days.
I really enjoy what I do. And I'd been in various businesses, but the opportunity for Pennington Williams came up in 2010, and it was to come on as the manager. And I'd been a manager previously, but only really for one or two staff. There was about 15 staff at the time, so it was a much bigger role than I'd been used to. But I was really, really looking forward to the challenge. And when I went in, what I really enjoyed was there'd been some systems kind of half put in place and then kind of dropped, and some of the staff had a bit of low morale because there'd been, targets set that were completely unachievable, and it was just that the culture wasn't quite settled. So when I joined, I was very conscious of sort of bringing the team back together and working as a team. I'm very passionate about people working as a team, and it's not me and the me and them, us and them. It's a collaborative business, and I kind of want the staff to feel comfortable with how they are and how we are together. We have general meetings all the time, and we chat. But I think when I joined as manager, I took the role on and kind of oversaw the accounts and sort of audit department. So I found it really interesting. I got to see how many different people interact, how they all work. And systems is one of my passions, really. I love. I think for an accountant, it's not a surprise. I'm quite system driven.
Everyone needs a systemizer
exactly.
in their life.
But if you can get a system right to start with, and that comes with growth, when you grow in a business and you've got a system in place, it's so much more manageable.
100%.
So getting those systems in place with some of the staff and working with them was really interesting. And then I kind of settled in. The business was owned by two older, traditional, shall I say, accountants who at some point were obviously looking to retire and step back. And I made it very clear I was really interested in kind of moving forward in that space.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've talked about networking and we met at networking. And the way that networking group is, we talked about this before the podcast, is really refreshing. Because a lot of these networking groups, without mentioning any names, are quite set in the ways. They're quite old school in the way they do stuff.
Yeah.
And I always call them like an analog thing in a digital era.
Yeah.
And I'm finding a lot of businesses like that we work with are in that situation as well, where they've kind of got to a point where they've got to a place where they haven't had to implement this stuff, but they're getting to a point where it's kind of becoming a need now.
Yeah.
And they kind of having to update the systems and having to update the content and like going from that, because it's hard, isn't it? Because I would say we're like our sort of age, anywhere between sort of 35 and 50, it's the last generation that grew up with and without social media.
Yeah.
So we had parts of our life without it, parts of our life with it. With our kids, they'll never go up without it.
Exactly.
So it's completely different, completely different life experience. And it's the same for business.
Yeah.
So with everything moving into this new age, there's always like new regulations coming in with, you know, making tax digital, all these new things with the government that are coming in. And even since coming into this concept moon back in October, get like random letters off HMRC, like, you know, like just like, and it's never, like I always say, it's never anything that'll make or break the business.
No.
But it's just annoying.
Yeah.
So it's things like...
You see the brown envelope and your heart goes.
Yeah, it's like 400 quid here, £1,000 there, 750 quid here, this and that. And you're thinking, that can get messy over time. All them little things adding up. That's what leads to trouble. So I suppose my question off the back of that is, how do you help clients navigate that? But also navigating going from like maybe older, more set in the ways systems to newer, moderner ways of working. Yeah,
it's definitely difficult, and you've got to know your audience. You know, because we are quite an established business. We've got clients that are, you know, in their 70s, 80s. You know, and you've got to work with those type of people or businesses that, you know, still use pen and paper. You know, even in our age now, that's, you know, it's becoming such an unusual thing to use pen and paper. So you've got to work with those clients who have got those, and, you know, still come in with a bag of records and, you know, here's a bag of receipts. Can you do something with that? You know, it's probably our worst pet hate right now, you know, in this day and age. But, you know, and then you go back to, you know, younger businesses, you know, business owners who are, you know, in their 20s starting it. As you say, those businesses and those people who aren't used to anything but today's society, and, you know, the way things work and being on socials all over the place, it's absolutely, you know, standard to them. You know, but they're more keen on things like software, you know, so they're straight in with, you know, using things like QuickBooks, Sage, Xero, getting into their finances, and whether they then work with an accountant who understand them, but they're more keen to kind of give things a go. And I think that's the difference really in age ranges is people willing to give things a go. Obviously, the older you are, you do get set in your ways. You do kind of go, this is the way I've always done it. And, you know, but in terms of us working with clients, we don't tend to push clients into one way or another. I'd rather work with clients in a way that they're comfortable.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's more important than us kind of pushing on and say, 100%. I mean, there are some accountancy firms out there that say, we only use Xero or we only use this software and you must use it. And if you don't, we won't work with you. You know, that there is a place for those accountancy firms, but that's not us. Yeah. You know, I'd much rather be flexible and be helpful for the client. And if they find something comfortable, it's then working with them to show how they can get the best out of the system they're using.
Yeah, I always think that, you know, like, even what we do, it's like for example, you work with us and someone else could work with us, could have a completely different experience of working with us. Yeah. And neither one of them are wrong. because
Absolutely.
it's just meeting your need of where you're at that time.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a marketing geek, as you can imagine, and a content geek. And there's an old school book. You can't buy it anymore, I don't think. Or if you can buy it, it might be like a few £100 to buy, because it's called Breakthrough Advertising by a guy called Eugene Schwartz. It's like it's kind of widely known as like the Bible of modern marketing. And there's this thing called the buyer journey. You've probably seen a bit of this. So he basically talks to awareness levels of where people are at in terms of like purchasing something. And this can happen over the course of years, or it can happen over the course of 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So without going too deep into it, the first level of awareness is completely unaware. So someone could have a business in your case, and they're kind of bumbling about, sole trader, going about the work, might be, you know, a tradie or someone who, like a creative, someone who's just started out basically.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they get the reminder.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you've got to file a tax return.
Yeah.
And at that phase, they go from unaware to something called problem aware.
Yeah.
So problem aware is where it's like, okay, I've got a bit of a problem now because I don't know what to do. So essentially what they're aware of is they've got a problem.
Yeah.
But what they're not aware of is the solutions that are available to them.
Yeah.
And the products and services that are available to them.
Yeah.
So at this phase, what will typically happen in terms of like real life behaviour is they'll start Googling stuff and they'll start looking at stuff and they'll start figuring out like who's local to me and this and that, da-da-da. And then they become, the next phase on that is solution aware.
Yeah.
So solution aware is like when they know what the solutions are. So I might have Googled accountants in Brombury and you've came up, 2 other firms have came up, and I know what's available to me, but I don't know kind of who's the right fit.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone in the businesses. I just know they're there.
Yeah.
So I know there's these 3 accountancy firms and I don't quite know who to go with. And this is, in real life behaviour, is where they'll start to like inquire.
Yeah.
They'll start to like fill out the form or ring you up and say, can I set up a meeting? This and that. Then he gets to product aware. Product aware is like, okay, I know who's available, what's available, and I kind of get the idea of like where I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
But I just haven't quite made my mind up yet. This is where they'll start looking at case studies, looking at testimonials, looking at like sort of your content, your social media, maybe even go to your website, this and that. And after that point, they make the decision and they go, I'm going to go with Lisa.
Yeah.
And that's where, and the point of me saying that is you can slot messaging into every one of them part of the journey.
Yeah.
And essentially what you're doing is you're just cycling through the whole thing at a time. Now, going back to what you said, in terms of like meeting people where they're at, someone might be in a case of like, right, you've got Xero available to you.
Yeah.
Which is a really fucking amazing software to use.
Yeah.
But realistically, you don't know how to use a keyboard.
Yeah.
And you don't know how to use an iPad.
Yeah.
So how on earth are you going to use the software?
It's not the best solution.
It's not going to be the best solution to you. So they're stuck in that problem aware phase going, well, I'm 75 years old. I'm not going to change now.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. You know, I've probably got 5 years left at best in business. And that's it. So you're not going to really change them. But in the case of someone who's 25, just set up their own business and really keen, they're probably really eager to use it. So you can also meet them where they're at in
Absolutely.
that sense. And you're right what you say. It's literally just meeting someone and knowing your audience and meeting them where they're at.
Absolutely.
In that journey.
Yeah.
And once you see that stuff, you can't unsee it.
No.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, when it comes to content and when it comes to showcasing your business, this could go on for 2 years of you posting content consistently, meeting people where they are, and they would never know.
Yeah.
So this person could be seeing all this content over and over and over again, never do anything with it, never even take any notice of it. And then all of a sudden, they've set the business up and they need accountants.
Yeah.
2 years later. And then because you've done all that stuff leading up to that and helped them and not gatekept anything and give them, you've said to them, look, there you go. Like, you go and do all the stuff. If you look at my social media or LinkedIn, if you implemented all the stuff on there, I would have a business.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't. But it's all out there.
Yeah.
And that builds a huge amount of trust over time.
Of course.
I'm banging on a bit here, but that's kind of like, I'm really passionate about that stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, someone else will come along and take your business, and then you'll be, and then like most business owners, if they're honest, I've sat there and went, why the hell has she gone to them, that person, or he gone to that person, when we are so much better fit for them.
Yeah.
And everyone's been there, and it's because they've probably just done that a little bit better over time.
Definitely.
And the beauty of it can happen over 2 years, 3 years, but it can also happen over 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And the example I always give on that is, imagine you just like go to shop, just go to the newsagents in the morning for whatever reason, get a pint of milk, and all of a sudden you're like, do you know what, really fancy a chocolate bar. Just really fancy a chocolate bar. Straight away, you've gone from unaware, problem, I need to find a chocolate bar, solution, all right, I'm looking at all the different types of chocolate bar. I pick my Kit Kat, happy days. Everyone loves a Kit Kat, and I go and pay for the Kit Kat. That's the same journey as someone who've even nurtured over 2 years. That to me is mind blowing.
Yeah.
And I suppose with accountancy, it's a topic that, no offense, but not a lot of people like really want to deal with.
No, not really. There's certain industries that people would deem, I don't know, boring. That type of thing. It's
But if it's not your thing, it is boring.
Yeah, exactly.
But not to you.
Exactly.
Like you could talk about accountancy all day.
Yeah, I could.
But to me, like to a lot of people, like if you spoke to my mum and dad, they wouldn't know anything about content.
No.
They're like, what the hell's that?
No.
It's like, it's still to this day, they're kind of like, what is he doing?
Well, I'd say it's finding your passion, isn't it? It's finding what you enjoy and running with it.
Yeah.
But it comes back to something we said before was, you don't know everything about running a business. And a lot of people start in business thinking, I love what I do. I love content. I love doing what I do. I'll go and set a business up doing content. Whether it's a sole trader, limited company, that bit doesn't matter. You've just gone into doing it to do what you do. And then you realise as a business owner, oh, okay, I've now got to do marketing. I've got to do sales. I've got to do my figures. And all of that comes with being a business owner that a lot of people forget. They go into business doing what they do because they enjoy it. And then they soon realise that they need a team around them to help them do those other things that they can't do. You can go on these courses, you can learn to do certain things. But it's like anyone, it's like anything in this world. There's a lot of things that we could all do ourselves if we wanted to. But at the end of the day, could we do it as good as somebody that's trained to do it? Probably not.
Yeah.
It's a bit like this. I could put a camera in front of my face and do a video, but will I? No.
Yeah.
Because I'd much rather sit here with you and discuss it with, in a professional
For
environment.
For me as well, it's peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I hired you, one thing I know that I would get is peace of mind.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about that part of your business. That it's sorted, it's covered.
But when you, for being a business owner, like when you start a business house, there's probably like maybe 3, 4, 5 things that every business owner immediately thinks of. So you think about sales marketing.
Yeah.
Do you think about how we're going to get clients?
Yeah.
Think how we're going to deliver the best service to our clients.
Yeah.
They're going to think about, price of actually running the business, profit and loss and all that. So you got all these things going on and you haven't even done your job yet.
No.
So straight away you think about all these things I've got to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, so being totally transparent, one of the bottlenecks in our business at the moment is I need a producer.
Yeah.
I need someone who can hand content off to.
Yeah.
So I need someone who can edit videos all day long, essentially, be a content creator.
Yeah.
And I need to step into more of like the business development role of the business.
Absolutely.
So I love having conversations with people. I love relationship building. I love doing content, podcasting. I fully understand that that's not going to get the business to where it's needs to get to.
Yeah.
If I keep doing that. Now, will I have a nice business, a nice lifestyle business if I keep doing that? Possibly.
Yeah.
But I want a business.
You're not doing it for lifestyle.
Yeah. I've got goals I want to hit.
Yeah.
So that's a bottleneck. So if I hired someone in, I don't have to, technically, I don't have to worry about them doing a really good job because
that's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. Then I start thinking about, right, okay, I've got to do my accounts now. Right, I can speak to Lisa.
Yeah.
Right, I need to speak to, I need to do some network. Okay, I'll go and speak to Daryl and speak to a few other people. That's good. I need to think about how we're going to improve our systems and processes and this and that.
Yeah.
I can do that myself.
Yeah.
And I know that I can do a really good job of that.
Yeah.
Because that's my sole thing. And I know all this other stuff's getting taken care of. Now, that doesn't come without its stresses because it costs money. It costs... it still costs time and effort.
Cash is king, as they say.
So if someone is in that situation where they might not have the sort of massive budget to go at, or just starting out and they need to get to class, what advice would you give that person who is in that situation?
I think as much as it's probably an accountancy thing to say, I would say having a cash flow forecast, because it's so important as a business owner. I mean, a lot of businesses will go into business either with no clue as to, what the costs are going to be and whether they can afford it, or they'll do a cash flow forecast at the beginning of the business because they think they should. People tell them they should, accountants tell them they should, their mates tell them they should, and they do it, and then they kind of put it in a drawer and forget about it. The key to it, the key to something like a cash flow is it's a massively beneficial tool to any business during the whole lifespan of a business. You do it to start up, to have an idea of, if you want to grow, you might need some support, and there's nothing wrong with that. And admitting that at the beginning is never a bad thing.
I love this. If I was to come along to Pennington Williams and sit down with yourself and do a cash flow forecast, what does that actually look like?
Yeah.
Because when someone says, I know what it is now, because I've done it for fucking years. But when I started out, if someone said cash flow forecast to me, I'd be like, where the fuck do I start with that?
What do you
mean? Yeah, exactly. So if I was to come along and sit with you, what's the step-by-step sort of framework we will go through?
Yeah. So if you're doing it as a start out of a business before you've got, any history or, any clue, the first thing you're going to look at is, okay, well, where are you getting your income from? What's your sources of income? When do you expect that to come in from a cash point of view? Now, that's going to depend on, the seasonality of your business. Things like, we act for some gardeners. Obviously in the height of the summer, their income is massive. The low of the winter, they've got nothing. So they've really got a budget for those type of things. Businesses that aren't so seasonal and it's kind of spread, but it can still be affected by, various different things. You might work with someone like the NHS. Now, we all know getting paid from the NHS is probably going to be the worst, payment terms ever. Whereas if your standard payment terms are, 30 days and most people pay you on time, which you hope they do, you can factor that in. See, it's always starting with the income first. Then you kind of go through on the expenses side and go, okay, well, when do I need to pay my wages? When do I need to pay, my marketing guy? When do I need to pay for the sales leads that I'm getting in? And you kind of go through all the touch points almost in the business of how you're going to run that business and where the cash is going from that. Ultimately, you just look at it month by month and go, at the end of each month, am I going to have any money left? And you hope that's a positive situation. But at the end of the day, the other reason for doing it, in future, if you do it in, say, the start of your business, as I say, you're never going to know where you're going to go. So you generally need to look at it regularly to kind of make sure it's up to date and it makes sense and it's still there. But what it'll give you at the start of the business is, if you think in 12 months' time, I've got a bit of cash behind me, I can make a start with this. But you can see in 12 months' time, if you didn't get, any more income in, but that your costs are going up, the economy the way it is at the moment, wages costs are going up, every cost under the sun is going up for businesses, business rates. So when you factor those things in, you might go, actually in 12 months' time, I'm going to have a bit of a pinch here. If I don't get any more income, I'm going to need extra cash. And you can look at that much, in advance and start speaking to things like banks and funders to kind of go, what's my availability? But if you don't look at that far enough in advance, if you literally get to the month where you've got no cash, I mean, at the end of the day, we've all got mortgages to pay. Most of us need to live personally, and that's, we're in business generally, ideally to make money,
exactly.
And to hopefully have a good life.
Do you think money, from an accountant's point of view, is a bit of a taboo subject for people to talk about?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I do think as well, that ties back to why people don't change accountants often. Because we are what people always call a trusted advisor. People really open their hearts to us and they divulge a lot of personal information that a lot of people don't like talking about. They probably don't talk about
it with... You've had a bad
with
one financially or whatever.
Exactly.
Get it.
And sometimes people are embarrassed to talk about it if things aren't good. But for us, it's much easier if people are open and honest and just tell us what's happening, even if it's a problem, so we can try and help them with a solution.
For sure.
You know, definitely.
I love it. So, given where we're at, you touched on the government there. I mean, with the economy and everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, all these new rules and regulations coming recently.
Yeah.
What's the state of play with all that at the moment?
Oh, so I mean, there's been so much change over the last couple of years.
With your accountant head on.
Yeah.
Is it a pain in the arse?
Yeah.
From a client perspective, is it a pain in the arse?
Yeah, because it's additional work. It's additional work on both sides.
Is it? Do you see a logic in it?
Not really. To be honest, I don't think you can ever put logic and HMRC in the same sentence, to be perfectly honest. And I think that's probably the most frustrating thing, is that we're having to explain to clients that, these new legislations are coming in and these new rules, things like making tax digital, you're now going to have to report quarterly to HMRC rather than just once a year. And the misconception is as well, I do it once a quarter and then I haven't got to do a tax return. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You've got to do these 4 quarterly submissions, and you only get 5 weeks after each quarter to submit it, which isn't long at all. Given you get 9 months currently to do a tax return, it's a very, very short time frame.
So if you were to speak to someone in the government on the other side of this argument, what would they say?
To be honest, I'd love to know. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that situation, because other than potentially knowing how much tax they're going to collect in on an earlier basis, there's no other real reason.
So they're kind of forecasting themselves what's coming.
I think so, yeah. Again, it's not really been divulged as to why they want to do this. I don't think particularly accountants like it. Because...
Do you think like everything's just going like digital in the sense of like, just for the sake of going digital?
Possibly. I mean, it might be a bit like you said before, the Big Brother situation. It gives them more eyes. And I think the one thing I would say is people shouldn't worry about it as much as possibly they are doing. They're seeing these new legislations and thinking, I've got to give more information to HMRC. That means they can get into my bank. And, it's not at all. Literally, you're going to give them 3 figures once a quarter, and that is all they are going to see. And ultimately, I think they just want to see your turnover so they can check you're not going over the VAT threshold and they're missing out on tax there. And they want to check your profits to see if they're missing out or how much tax they're going to be getting in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't really know why they're doing it. I don't think accountants particularly like it. We're having to explain to clients who don't like the idea of doing it. But we are where we are. So it's trying to work with clients to allay their fears, say it's not a problem, it's not an issue. You do have to do something digitally. So if you haven't got software, we can help you bring software into place. But software doesn't have to mean actual physical accounting software. You can use Excel. And a lot of people these days, I go back to the pen and paper situation before. Most people that were using pen and paper at least use Excel. So even if you can put those figures into Excel, you're in making tax digital, you'll be fine. So it's just allaying those fears and, making people not panic about the situation.
I love it. It's interesting to someone like me because, you just kind of go about your day, you go about your business, you run your business day to day, delivering your services, generating new business, and then all of a sudden it's on you.
Yeah.
It just seems like it just creeps up, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, it's nearly here now. So for anyone who's in it now, is any sole traders or landlords that are earning over 50,000 turnover, if they were in it from the 6th of April. So, technically there's, millions of people are already in making tax digital, and their first quarter is to June, and they've got to make their first submission by the 7th of August.
Jesus.
I'd be really interested to see what the actual stats are on how many people are supposed to submit by that date and how many actually do. Because,
oh my goodness.
I mean, HMRC have said they will be lenient, shall we say, in the first 12 months of filing. So
people get used to it and stuff?
Yeah, so I think, as I say, you do get these 5 weeks to submit it, but they're not going to issue penalties or anything like that. They're going to possibly send a letter to say, you should have filed it. But they've said, in the first 12 months, and that's fine, but it's going to take a lot of getting used to.
Yeah.
And it's not difficult. But we all know people who are sole traders or self-employed and do a tax return. You get 9 months to do this. You always get 9 months to do it, but you can guarantee most sole traders leave it till the end.
Yeah, you strike me as quite an ambitious person.
Yeah.
And I definitely when I was in my early 20s, I was very ambitious, kind of aggressively ambitious actually. I really wanted to just do some stuff. And I did.
Yeah.
I went out and I achieved a bit, and when I look back, I made tons of mistakes, and I could have been one thing I always say, I don't have regrets, but I always say one thing I wish I'd have done differently.
Yeah.
Was start doing this stuff in 2012.
Yeah.
Because if I'd done it then, I'd be huge now. That said, you don't know what you don't know and all that. Anyway, I remember back then, even after the recession, like, so 2008, 2009, made redundant. I was an architect up until I was 22. And then made redundant in 2008. Obviously, recession, no jobs, construction was shut down.
Yeah.
And I was there just over 5 years, so that entitled me to a bit of a payout.
Redundancy pay.
And it was 2.5 months of pay.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, I think that equated to about £3,800.
Okay.
So I was 22.
Yeah.
£4,000, happy days, like balling out of control. Like I don't need to get a job. Well, what I quickly realised after a week is you can't drink more than a few days, and you can't. And everyone else was working anyway.
Yeah.
So I started going to the gym at that point, and I decided to change career. Like probably, against my mum and dad's wishes and all that. But it was a good thing, and I remember at that point I got loads of help from government. I got loads of help. I got put on loads of like different things, loads of funded stuff. And then I went to work for David Lloyd, and they put me on loads of stuff. I just felt like I just got like loads of support along the way. And when I look at it now, I look at someone who's 21, 22. If they've got a bit about them and you want to do some big ideas and you want to do some big stuff, I look at it and go, what incentive is there these days really to go out and crack on and do stuff?
Absolutely.
And you went straight away, you're going to get slammed with fees and loads of different stuff going on. And it's a battle. I'm always battling with it. I'm like, yes, go out and start your thing and go and do your big thing, but at the same time,
it's a big bad world these days.
Yeah, like I don't know, like when I look back, I didn't really think about it like I was getting like massively supported. I thought that was just a normal thing, but it just doesn't seem to happen the same way anymore.
No, absolutely not. There was a lot more support, I think, out there for people starting in business, and it does depend on the economy. It depends, even on politics, which I'm not going to get into, but it really depends on.
It's a divisive topic, politics, isn't
it? Very, very much. It's not something I ever generally get into with clients, unless you're in that space.
No, I mean we do one podcast in here called Where Common Sense Fails, and we call it Current Affairs with a Comedic Twist. So we never give any political views.
Yeah,
like we're adamant about that. We don't give political views. We don't tell people what side to take.
Yeah,
we're not left wing, right wing, whatever. We just basically commentate current affairs and put our own little funny stuff on it. But even with that stuff, you get some comments and stuff, and it's like, freaking hell.
Yeah.
Like this, it gets a bit vitriolic, let's say. But it matters, doesn't it? Because it does matter, because when
it's the world we're all
when you
in.
got people like us, and like, let's say you get a 21-year-old accountant who's really keen and really eager to come in and do some good stuff, and you really want to mentor them and help them. It's like, what do you say to them? like it's the same thing with like apprentices. We've had a few people coming in, do some work experience with and stuff, and like, it's great, but it's really, really hard work.
Yeah,
it's really, really.
I think it's a shock to the system to some younger people these days.
It doesn't come without its sleepless nights.
No,
it doesn't come without its stresses. It's you got to be a certain type of hard person to get through that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do just go, I can't. This is not for me. Yeah. And that's fine. Like, best of luck. Yeah. I mean, I think I've just got so far now that I can't do it.
You're down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. And I think there was like a 4-month period where I did actually get a job when I'm 39 now, so it must have been about 10, 12 years ago. And I worked in a job for like 3 or 4 months, and I was like, this is just not for me.
No.
This is just not.
But you've got to make that. You've got to almost take the leap of faith. Yeah. I always call it. Going into changing career, going into a new business, any of that. It's all taking a leap of faith.
Yeah.
You do it because you want to do it. You hope it'll work, and you really hope it'll work. And if it fails, so be it. And again, coming round to kind of business. I don't think it's a bad thing when businesses fail. To me, you learn an awful lot when you try something and it doesn't work, because funny enough, you know what not to do.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's a real good learning curve.
Yeah, because when you're like 20 and you look at someone who's 30, they're like really old.
They seem really old
They
to you.
seem like they're you know, I'll have all my shit sorted by the time I'm 30, and then you get to 30 and you're like, okay, I'll have all my shit sorted by the time I'm 35.
Yeah.
And then you start approaching 40 and you're like, actually, I'm not actually that old.
Yeah.
I've still got loads of time on my side.
Absolutely.
I can still go with it. But I remember my mum and dad turning 40 years ago. Like,
Yeah. I do think the older you get, the younger you feel.
yeah.
I do believe that philosophy.
Being elderly is just like always a few years ahead of you. Yeah. So without sounding too doom and gloom, like, I actually think there's more opportunity than ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
in terms of actually just, you know, the attention that you can get. So we've talked about this again, like when we were young, when we were coming up in our formative years, you get to the point where, like, you know, things were quite scarce. So if you wanted information, you have to go to a library. If you wanted to start a business, you have to go down the job centre and do all this stuff and get all the information. Now you can literally, in theory, you could get on your phone, do a 20-second video. It goes completely viral, gets millions of views, and your life's changed forever.
Yep.
That does happen.
Absolutely.
It does happen.
Yeah.
So I always say that even though things are tough now, and you've got more, you know, rules and regulations around us, you know, what is it the Prime Minister said? He said business owners got to broaden the shoulders a bit. It's like, and I think that's a misconception of business owners. It's like, oh, you're a business owner, you must have loads of money.
Yeah. Oh God, absolutely.
That's a big misconception.
That is definitely a big misconception. Absolutely.
You must be you must be rolling in it. You got a business.
Yeah. Why aren't you driving that, you know, big Porsche outside?
Yeah. But on the other side of it, the barrier to entry is literally having a phone.
Yeah.
Essentially.
That there is no, the only barrier is the competition, really. There's nothing stopping you starting it.
No.
Ultimately, there's just a lot of competition out there in every industry now.
No. But everything works as well. Like, because things are so at our fingertips now, everything kind of works. Like, I was looking at this this YouTube channel called The Angry Gardener. He's like this. I'd probably put him late 60s, early 70s.
Wow. And
he started doing videos, and he's basically in his back garden moaning about the weeds and moaning about garden. But he's actually a gardener. He's actually a landscape gardener.
Right.
But he basically just moans about weeds and all, like, birds coming in the garden, like all this kind of stuff. And he's got like 4 million subs on YouTube.
Wow.
It's ridiculous, right? And like, there's loads of examples like that. And let's say, for example, you wanted to start a coffee brand, or you wanted to start a gardening business, or you wanted to start a self-storage unit, or like some really boring business model. Like, literally, you can just literally pick up your phone
and start,
put a message out there to people saying, yeah, I've got a business now. I'm going to start offering gardening services. Yeah. Like, literally, someone knocked on our door and was like, we're offering £16.50 a month, and we can come twice a month and clean your windows. Okay. I signed up. And it like, literally just knocked on the door. I was like, yeah, I'll get
because it was easy. It was in front of you.
Because it was easy, and it made it available to us.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, the risk element of it actually is kind of gone because of that, because I always say my ego's not big enough. So, like, if all this went wrong, touch wood, it went. Touch wood, it went. But if it all went away tomorrow, I'd go back to college with the kids, and retrain as a plumber, or I'd put a post out on social media saying I'm running a garden business now. You know what I mean? I'd just go and do it.
Yeah.
So with that said, the opportunities are there for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to have broad shoulders in more than one sense, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Starting any business, especially right now, is not easy. You know, it takes a lot of gumption. It takes a lot of sticking at things, you know, and you have got to compete. And, you know, a lot of it is now socials. You've got to compete on socials to be relevant. You know, and for people, you know, maybe not you, but people my age, is, you know, it is scary. You know, it's not something we're comfortable with. It's not something we've ever done before. I
think being in your 40s, genuinely, I'm not even saying this because I'm approaching my 40s and you're in your 40s. I think it's the best decade, genuinely.
No, I don't disagree with you. I honestly, I
actually think it's the best decade, because you look at it and go, like, I'm not young enough to do all that, like, like maybe childish stuff that we used to do before, and getting all the caper we used to get before. But I'm not old enough to do all like
serious,
all
too
that
serious stuff. Yeah.
It's great.
It's great as well when you've got, I've got a 15-year-old, so he's kind of, I've gone through the late nights and early mornings and getting through, all the getting up through the night, and he's a teenager now. He looks after himself and he stays in bed in the mornings. I can have a lie in. It's your life at now starts becoming, well, actually, I can have a life again now.
I haven't actually had a full night's sleep for about 2 years. I've got a 5 and a 1 year old.
Oh, tough.
The 5-year-old's all right.
Yeah.
1 year old. Sheesh.
It's not easy.
He will sleep.
Not easy.
He will sleep, but in his own bed. So yeah.
Trying to do that and run a business as well.
Have you ever seen the film Jerry Maguire?
I have.
Yeah.
I love that film.
Yeah, I love that film. So in that film, it's actually one of my top 3 films of all time. I love it. Could watch it every day. And in that film, there's a scene at the start where he gets really like pissed off with the sleazy sales agents, and they're all trying to sell the agency to the American football players. And he goes home one night and he's like, really, he's just not happy. And he gets on his laptop and he hashes out this mission statement, like 18-page mission statement.
Yeah.
And he thinks he stays up all night, he drinks his coffee, revolutionises the whole industry. And he goes in the next day and he makes this big grand speech in front of everyone. And no one listens to him.
Yeah.
Everyone just cracks on. Apart from Rennie Zellweger.
Yeah.
Just,
with their fish.
And Charlie, our second one, was born in October 2024. And around the Christmas time, we were in the old content room. And I always call it my Jerry Maguire moments, where he was up one night and I just was on the coffee and all that, and I just cracked my laptop open, cracked the Google Doc open, and just started brain dumping, like
ideas,
my whole mission statements, like where I wanted to get to with it, like how I was going to navigate, because you'd underestimate having 2 kids that come into one and all that, and I probably spent about 4 days just brain dumping everything at my head, and it was quite enlightening actually, because I was like, I need to like, it was like all out my head. It's all this like ideas bouncing around my mind, but all out, and like I could see it in front of me, and it was like quite enlightening. And I remember looking through it and going like, what's the common denominator between everyone that we've ever worked with that's had success?
Right. Okay.
Across all the industries, like what's the common thing? And the common thing was always big ideas.
Okay.
The bigger the idea, the bigger the results.
Yeah.
Like they went for it and they stuck at it, and then got into a bit of a rabbit hole with like watching like Dragon's Den and things like that, where people come on and like pitch their ideas, and it got me thinking, why do some ideas like really take off?
Yeah.
Like what seems overnight?
What makes it?
What makes it work,
Yeah.
and then what makes other ones that seem like good ideas, but then they turn out to be terrible ideas.
Yeah.
They never go anywhere. And it was always like day-to-day stuff. It was always like, oh, my husband didn't want me to take the financial risk, or my kids were young, and I couldn't spend the amount of time that I needed to do. It was always something like day-to-day stuff. It wasn't ever things like the business itself.
Yeah.
It wasn't ever like,
it wasn't that there wasn't an idea there.
It wasn't the idea
work.
that was terrible.
Yeah.
It was, some ideas were great but didn't work.
Yeah.
Some ideas were bad but did work.
Yeah.
But it was always day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
So the first question I always ask people now is like, what is your big idea? Like, what's the idea like that you've got in your head, especially when you're starting out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the more you can clarify that, and the more you can like implement that across a business model, it's like you got every chance of success. People see this room now, and they go, "Do you know what? You've smashed it with this room. You spent loads of money on it. You got it to a place where clients are coming and getting business in."
I mean, that's business planning. That is business planning. Do you know what I mean?
It is.
It doesn't need to be a formal, document. It can be a brain dump. 100%. It's just getting everything down in your head that you know and want and think can work.
Yeah.
and then making it happen.
Sometimes it's literally just a case of just literally just brain dumping it.
Yeah.
Just literally just, even if you've got to pay someone to do it, like just go and just dump all your ideas on someone.
Yeah.
Like let them or even voice note it into a phone and put it in ChatGPT. Like do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
In my case, it was a Google Doc. I've still got it now. I actually tidied it up a little bit and put it as a lead magnet called the Social Media Blueprint. It was good. And yeah, like that was the thing. So I'm fascinated with big ideas and say to people now, like, what's your big idea? What's your big idea? To the point where I'm actually going to write a book at some point called What's Your Big Idea?
Okay.
So the question I've got for you is, for Pennington Williams now, given the state of play with the country, economy, business, yourself, personally, team-wise, all that good stuff mixed together, what's your big idea for the rest of 2026 and beyond?
Well, I mean, there's a lot going on, as you say, with the economy and things. I mean, my passion has always lied in and always will in helping people. You know, it's not about the compliance. It's not about getting your accounts and your tax return done. Everyone's got to do that, and that, you know, that's the standard thing. It's about actually understanding people as people. People are human beings, you know. And the one thing I'm quite good at, hopefully, you know, is talking to people like they're a person. You know, yes, I'm an accountant first and foremost, but I talk to people like they're humans. I don't talk in accountant speak. I don't talk in complicated, you know, phrases. I just want to learn about them, what they want, what makes them tick, what they want out of their business, and help them get there. That's my passion, and that's what I want to continue to do. You know, I think you can see you smirking at me because, you know, I do enjoy it, and
it's true.
You know, hopefully you can see I enjoy it.
I'm actually smiling because I'm resonating with it a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think with this, like the rise of AI and the rise of, you can't go on the internet without bumping into a boss.
Don't get me started on AI.
Or a customer service boss or something.
Especially when you get clients saying, "Oh, I got this advice on investments on AI. This is what it told me to do." It's a nightmare.
I know. Do you think AI will get to a point where it can kind of like dominate roles and stuff?
Some industries, yes, and I think, you know, a lot of people in our industry as accountants, I think, are scared about it because obviously the one thing any computer can do is work out figures and facts and figures. It's really good at that. But what it's not good at is the human element.
Yeah.
And that's the bit where I think it's more important now than ever for our business to be there as the human ear.
That's where I think your business will really take off over the next few years.
Yeah.
Because you get that. Mm-hmm. You get that human element of it. So what I think, again, this is my prediction. You could disagree. Like, that's fine. And this will be the same with what we do as well. I think we might go from being able to, say you had a capacity of 50 clients, let's say. In 5 years' time, you will have a capacity for 150 clients. Yeah. Because all that back-end stuff. So I think AI will be implemented in a business like yours, but more in like dashboards and CRMs and stuff like that. Yeah. Not the
in the stuff that it can be really good at.
Yeah.
And to me, the thing with AI, as much as I don't like clients asking it questions about finances and not understanding their history, their other income. But what it is good for is, you know, giving you those ideas. So when you get clients coming in going, you know, I kind of had this business idea and I kind of ran it through AI and it's now give me all of this. And they come in with all these great ideas and then you can work with them on the back of that.
I've seen there's a thing where more people are getting sued.
Absolutely.
More people
because they're becoming reliant on it. There was someone, I think, who'd relied on it for tax advice. Yeah. And then they'd got their tax return completely incorrect because they'd relied on something that AI had told them. Yeah. You know, and as I say, for checking things, you know, for words, for blogs and, you know, things like that, it can be really useful. Yeah. To be honest, in our industry, we use it quite a lot for audit. Yeah. Just for the wording of how much you've got to put on audit files these days. Yeah. But, you know, you hope that clients will come to you for that advice.
I think that's the case. I think, you know, if, let's be honest, we could get a protractor in the middle of a map and do a 5-mile radius, you'd probably pick out 20 accounting firms. Yeah. I could probably pick out 20 content creators easy. Yeah. So what makes them come to us? Yeah. It's the human thing.
Absolutely.
It's the fact that I know you and I like you.
Exactly.
We're good mates now.
Yeah. You know, it's all about first impressions,
you know,
as well.
In theory, you could go and buy these cameras,
Yeah.
go and buy all this lighting and stuff, and do your own videos.
But it's not my bag.
Yeah, and likewise, that's why it works.
Yeah.
But I definitely think there's a thing in like dashboards. Do you like like client dashboards where you can see like information that you put into it, but it's it's AI based. They can update it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can see it, but in terms of the actual human element of it, it'll save you so much time. Like we use AI software. It doesn't edit the video for us, but it chops it up. Mm-hmm. So let's say you had an hour-long podcast. You'd have to watch the hour.
Yeah.
So that's an hour of your time.
Yep.
So you've done an hour to film.
Yep.
An hour to watch the thing. And then you'd spend probably 3 hours or 2 hours chopping,
trying to work out where to break
chopping
it.
scene by scene. So I used to do it's quite tedious, and I'd probably do about 2 or 3 podcasts a week at that point in time. And I'd actually stay away from podcasts because it was so time consuming. It just wasn't worth the time to do. Now there's a software that can chop that podcast up. You still got to watch it and make sure it's all right and stuff. In about 3 minutes. So now I'm doing 10, 15 podcasts a week as opposed to 3.
So it's made a massive difference to your business.
To the point where technically, I haven't hired a producer yet because
you freed some of your time up
by
doing
it. Yeah. So I can do more stuff.
Yeah.
I can do the probably 3-4 times the work in the same amount of time. So that's a benefit of AI.
Absolutely.
That's an absolute benefit.
Yeah.
With that said, it still doesn't replace me.
No.
So someone said to me, "Are you scared that over time, all this kind of stuff will just become AI videos and stuff like that?" And I didn't really know how to answer it. I was like, AI, you can make AI videos now. I can tell an AI video from a mile off.
Yeah, you can.
But over time, you might not be. Over time, it will get better.
Yeah.
AI will never be worse than what it is now.
No.
I get that. But imagine, we're doing a podcast now, right? The whole value add for you to be on this podcast is you being here on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
The whole point of anyone
you're not talking to a hologram.
The whole point of anyone watching this podcast is that you're in the room with me having the conversation. Now, imagine I said to you, Lisa, I want you to come on the podcast, but all you need to do is send me a 10-second voice note and a picture of yourself.
Yeah.
And I can make the whole podcast for AI and the whole conversation.
And what's crazy is you could do that.
In theory.
Yeah.
And you'd go, fuck off.
Why
is the value in that? There's no value in that.
The point is to get the human element, which, you can't get from a robot.
I know. It just, to me, to me, the future is not just human-led. It's creative human-led.
Yeah, but it's using the technology to your advantage. It's not being scared of it and pretending it's not there, because that's not going to help.
No.
It's not using it to the nth degree where it replaces
how
something.
much value to your business could it add if you could take another 100 clients?
Exactly.
In this, by doing with adding no time to your diary.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if AI does get to a point where it can process numbers so quickly and submit tax returns so quickly that say it takes you half a day to do a tax return, and all of a sudden it's done it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
It's an absolute game because you've essentially freed up hours and hours and hours of time a week, and you can go out and get more clients. Yeah, and you can make your business better.
Yeah, I mean, talking about a sort of freeing time up, and one of the things we mentioned earlier was pricing. It's one thing that people kind of are scared of is increasing their prices, because their immediate reaction is, I'm going to lose customers. And it's quite an interesting, we've got some what if scenarios that we can plug the figures in with a client and kind of go, where's your figures now? Where's your client level now? Okay, so let's put your prices up by 1%. What does that have on your bottom line? And they go, oh yeah, but I've got competitors so I can't put my prices up because I'll lose clients. Okay, well, say you'll lose 10 clients. What would that do to your bottom line? And in most cases, by putting their price up and even losing some clients, they actually end up in a no worse situation, sometimes better, but it frees their time up.
Yeah.
So you're back to, they've got extra time to then go out and and take clients on. It's, it's a win-win situation. If you use technology and use things that are available to you, look at your pricing and increase your prices, you can free time up and you can take on more clients. It's using everything that's around you.
It's mind-blowing, really, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
It's mind-blowing, really.
Yeah.
And it seems to have happened quite quick. Like, I mean, when we were young, I mean, when we were 20, things like this seem to progress quite slowly, but all of a sudden it just seems to be on us.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even go on the internet now without bumping into a customer service boss or something.
No, it's just it's there. I mean, I as you can say, I like my nails. I like sparkly nails. So I often go on the internet to look at nail designs and things before I have them done. And the one thing I took quite a few photographs a couple of months ago because there was this one website that I went on and I was like, oh, those designs look great. And when you start looking at them, I realised pretty much all the pictures had 6 fingers.
Yeah.
And it was always 2 thumbs or 2 small fingers. I don't know what it is with AI that doesn't seem to be able to get hands right.
Yeah.
But they'd put them all on their site as though they were their nails.
Yeah.
And you're like, again, there's the good and the bad and the ugly with AI. Using it to help, show what designs could be is fine. One, as long as you say they're not my designs, but I could do this. But also check your content before you put it online. A woman with 6 fingers is, pretty sure that's not real.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it?
So, you can use AI to your advantage, but, you've really got to check how you use it.
It's interesting what you say about increasing your prices because, again, piece of my old business coach, you said this to me, he said, what's the difference between selling a 50 quid product and a $5,000 product? Like, just off the top of your head, what is it?
It's whatever the customer wants. It's not about the price, really.
But there's actually nothing difference about it. It's the same time that it takes for you to sell it.
Yeah.
It's the same effort.
Yeah. You just make a bigger profit margin on it.
It's just at the end of the sales process, you just go, it's $5,000 rather than 50 quid.
Yeah.
It's literally, and it's really all in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, like, I found it really interesting what you're saying about knowing your customer and meeting them where they're at because, like, that part of it actually is super important because if you're selling like a $5,000 product as opposed to a 50 quid product, like that's it can have a massive impact. You can't be beating yourself up about the 50 quid people.
Yeah,
like you can't be thinking about that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a place in history for both sides.
Yeah, I mean, if I sold 50 quid product, I'd have to sell 100 products to get the $5,000.
Amount of work you'd have to go into to sell
to get that.
Yeah.
If I could just sell one $5,000 product a month, then I've got the $5,000. So it's that thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, prices are always an interesting one. I had a client that went through, and this is what we went through with her, and it took her 2 years to increase her prices.
How do you frame that when you've done that yourself?
Yeah, so it's difficult to try and broach, but at the end of the day, the clients, they know their information. They know their business inside out. Yeah. So you're the best person to kind of look at this with them. And you kind of go, well, actually, have you thought of this? And usually the first answer is, well, I've thought about it, but there's always a but. And usually it's competitors. It's usually the number one reason not to increase your prices. I've got competitors in the same industry, done a bit of market research. I know where their prices are, so I know my prices are about right. Okay, well that's great, but what service do you deliver? Is your service better than the customer, than the people down the road? Because if they're better than the person down the road, then why are you charging the same price? Yeah. So ultimately, if you're delivering a better service, then one, you can put your prices up regardless, and then if people want your service and they want your better service, for want of a better phrase, then they'll pay for it.
I love it.
And if you lose customers, as I say, you can do that kind of way out of. Yes, I might lose some customers, but one are the customers that you're going to lose, the customers that maybe weren't the best customers in the first place. They're the ones that don't necessarily pay you on time, the ones that take all your time up. And actually the amount of time you would free up by not having those clients, you would gain then a lot more, and you could go out and then win the type of clients that you do want.
I love it. I really appreciate your time. If anyone wants to come into the world of Pennington Williams and Lisa, what's the best way they can do that?
I mean, anyway, we've obviously socials.
Yeah.
Watch this podcast.
What's this space?
Yeah, obviously we're a local accountants. We've been here for a long time, so we're on phone, email, and that's we don't charge by the hour. We offer a free initial meeting, and again, that's not timed to an hour. I could be with a new client for half an hour or 3 hours, whatever I need to dig out as much information to help them as possible in that first meeting.
I love it. Watch this space on the socials as well, because the content is going to be coming thick and fast.
Yeah.
And I can't wait.
Thanks, Steve.
No problem. As I said, I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate the work that you do. And just to round this off, if there was 10 accountancies within a 5-mile radius, I can see why people pick yours, because that human element of it is super important, and you do it really well. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for
Cheers,
that.
Steve.
We are done for this one.